We've just finished taping our pilot. Only a few moments ago, these... It's a show that will be different every day. Viewers will never know what to expect. What you are about to see will give you the flavor of a typical show. Now, a quick word about the opening. A different person will open the show each day. In a moment, you'll see how. It might be a Marine, the president of a woman's club, a beauty contest winner, a young housewife, or perhaps a child. If Hugh Downs is visiting California with the Today Show, Hugh might open our show. It could be anyone. Every day, it'll be an intriguing surprise for our viewers. All right, gentlemen, let's roll the tape.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
And here he is, Bob Barker.
Thank you very much. That's just a besto welcome. Thank you so much. And I want our viewers to meet Bob Peterson here, who put our show on the air for us today. Bob and I met in the audience before the show, and I want to thank you. You did a great job. You really did. You set the pace for the whole show there. No, you spelled all 4 words correctly. I beg your pardon?
They had an idiot card.
Did they have an idiot card? They really had a cue card for you. Well, I would never have guessed, because you seem to have confidence. I was watching on a monitor backstage there, and you wrote that with the firm, strong hand of a 3rd grader. If I ever... No, you play football where?
Staff High School.
And you're a junior?
Junior.
Now, you put the show on the air for us. Bob Peterson, what in all the world do you want as a gift from us? Anything you want.
I want a car.
You want a car?
Yeah.
Well, what else would you like? What?
Nothing.
No, tell me. What do you want?
I told you.
Well, a car, but something else. What would be your second choice?
Money?
Money? 3rd choice. What would you like? How would you like a record?
That's fine with me.
You like records?
Yeah.
What kind of records do you have?
Oh, mostly my sister's what I got.
Do you have any records of Shep Field? Have you ever heard of Shep Field? Claude Thornhill? Vincent Lopez? Blue Baron? He's square, you know? Tell you what we have. We have this beautiful masterwork phonograph, along with an assortment of ultra-high-fidelity dot records. And Bob Peterson, thank you. You have been a fine starter offer for us today.
Thank you.
Here you go. I know Bob Peterson was exciting, but we have more excitement for you today. For example, we have a celebrity guest with us. Now, he's a guy, he's one of the best-known names in television, probably around, well, he's in his 50s. But here is a picture of him when he was 16, with a live litter of kittens on his head. Those are little kittens up there on his head. Now, who at 16 would pose for a picture with a litter of kittens on his head? You'll meet him later on in today's show. Now, do you like to travel? We'll be passing along some hints that will help you overcome the language barrier when visiting romantic old Mexico. Yes, tips to acquaint you with the friendly ways of our good neighbors south of the border. That's a PTA meeting in Tijuana. Now, last but not least, I wouldn't dare say least, is my wife, Dorothy Jo. You'll be seeing her, too. And here's a picture of my lovely wife taken just a few weeks ago. Well, that's actually my wife, and you think you have trouble. That was her reaction when I asked her to be on the show today. Now, we'll get underway in just a moment. In the meantime, did you know that happiness is a warm commercial? Now I'd like to have you meet three nice people from our studio audience. What is your name?
Jean Nelson
And Jean Nelson, where do you live?
in Inglewood.
Now, ours is a daytime show, Jean, so of course more women see it than anyone else. We like to do things that are of interest to women. Jean Nelson, what is it that all women are interested in? Men, you're right. She was on the bus from San Diego. I wasn't thinking of just men, I was thinking of romance.
Right.
Now, you're interested in romance.
Yes.
And you know things about romance.
Right.
And you'd like to win some money based on your knowledge of romance. You like money better than romance, I can tell. What is your name, sir?
Ray Cooper.
And Mr. Cooper, what do you do?
I teach school.
And Mr. Cooper, are you married?
Yes, I am.
For how long have you been married?
I've been married 10 years.
Think back 10 years, Mr. Cooper. Did you have a lot of girlfriends before you were married?
Maybe 2.
All your life?
Well, maybe 5.
That would require an entire series. Now, down here is a little guy who probably doesn't know too much about romance, but he probably knows a lot about a lot of other things. What's your name?
Dan Novak.
And Dan Novak, you told me in the audience you're how old?
Around 6.
I'd like to have you become acquainted with our viewers. That is, our viewers become acquainted with you. Just describe yourself to them. Tell them about yourself. What should they know about you? Are you a good boy or a bad boy? All right, I'll talk about something else. No, are you a good boy or a bad boy?
In between.
That's a good boy. Are you a good student in school?
In between.
Do you have a girlfriend? You can't be in between on that. Do you have or you haven't?
In a.
No.
Right.
How old do you suppose you'll be when you get interested in girls?
I'll say it's a long time, but 17.
About 17? Very good time. But I'll tell you what, folks, I'd like to have you follow me right down here, if you will, please. Come right down here, and let's just have a line as we had there. And this is how I'm going to give you a chance to win money. We're going to discuss romance. And to be more specific, we're going to discuss my romance. Now, you and I have just met, Mrs. Nelson. Just whisper in my ear how you picture me, I mean, romantically. You're right, Mrs. Nelson, baby. Say it again, it sounds good. A few years back, that's right. Now, in this section we have roped off here is my wife. My wife, Dorothy Jo, is seated someplace in that section. I want each of you to pick out a lady you believe is my wife, and then tell me why you think she's my wife. You understand that?
Yes.
And you understand, don't you, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, I do.
But now, Dan, do you understand? You're to pick out a lady you believe is married to me, and after you've picked her out, then you're to tell me why you think she's married to me. What made you...
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you're right, I'll give you $100. I'm going to give you a moment to look them over. Look them over. Now, do you think you could find my wife? Might be this lady. Could be. Or it just might be this lady. On the other hand, I might be married to this one. Yeah. Now, while they're searching for Mrs. V, here's a message for you to see. All right, now, no help here from anybody in the audience. Mrs. Nelson, point the lady out you'd like to have stand.
I think this lady here.
This lady right here. Would you stand up, please? And you tell me why you think she's my wife.
Well, she's probably about the right age, and she's kind of glamorous. And, should have a glamorous life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all.
I see. Fine. About the right age and kind of glamorous. I like the sounds of that. You step back there. Mr. Cooper, you come down here. That's all right, Dan. You can be between us if you want to. Come on down here. Have you picked one out?
Yes, I have.
Which one?
This lady right here.
Which one? With her hair up?
Yes.
Would you stand up, please? Would you stay on your feet, the first lady, please? And the second lady's in the second row with the hair up, huh?
Yes,
Why do you think she's my wife?
Well, I think she's very attractive, and I think she's very well
Now, are you playing the same game I am here?
I don't know, but I'd like to.
Whisper in his ear. He likes it, too. She's very attractive, yes.
And very well groomed.
Yes.
And nicely dressed, and I think that you would find her very appealing.
I do, whether she's my wife or not. All right, would you take a step back up there and watch that little fall over there? And, Dan, now turn around here, and who do you want to stand up? Who do you believe is my wife?
That lady right there.
This one right here? Would you stand up, please, madam, so everybody can see you? And tell me, why do you think she's my wife, Dan?
No. Because she's got black hair and you have gray, so...
All the people I could have chosen for this spy, you know? Why, she has black hair and I have gray, and what?
When you get older, you'll have black.
Well, you think my hair gets blacker as I get older? So you think I'm young and have gray hair?
Yeah.
You're a sweet boy. I'm glad I have you. All right, well then, let's start. I'll step down here. Would you step up here first, please? Let's step up here. And turn so people at home can see you. That's right around there. And tell me your name.
Sheila McCann.
Sheila McCann. So, Dan, you don't win the $100. So, all right, Sheila, will you step back down there? Mr. Cooper, come down here. And the young lady in front there, would you just step out? I would come down there to you, but at my age, it's an awful chore walking down those steps. And tell us your name?
My name's Helen Molnar.
Helen Molnar. So she couldn't be Mrs. Barker? No. No. All right, you return to your seat. And you up there. And Mrs. Nelson, come by here, down here. And would you just step right down here? Right up beside me. And tell me your name.
Dorothy Jo Barker.
Mrs. Bob Barker. Mrs. Nelson? Look into that camera. Here we are. Batman and Robin. Did you hear the nice things that she said? She said you're glamorous.
Yes, I was, but you noticed, the other two were considerably younger than I.
Yes, but the others didn't know that I'm also much younger than you. Did they? No, this is not true. We met when we were sophomores in high school. We met in Springfield, Missouri. Of course, I've forgiven Springfield, Missouri for that, you know. And we've gone together all our lives, off and on. And we've been married. I'll handle this. 21 years. We were child, bride, and groom, though. You understand? All right. Now, you won $100, Mrs. Nelson, but for you, Mr. Cooper, and Dan, for you, we have a Polaroid land camera that gives you finished color pictures in 60 seconds, black and white pictures in 10 seconds. And for the other two ladies, we have Tuvara perfume by Tuvache. It's the perfume the in crowd rates the most. And thank you, all 5 of you, for being on our show. Bye-bye. Ahora vamos a visitar a Mexico para sondear el español. Translated, that means next we'll be visiting Mexico and delving into the Spanish language. But now, let's pause and see this. Now, as you know, Americans are traveling all over the world these days. Countries in Europe, all over. And it's always more fun when you visit a country if you can speak a little of the language of that country. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Huh? Well, as a public service, we're going to help those of you who may be planning to visit Mexico. Now, we have a group here from San Diego, do we not? So you go over to Tijuana all the time, don't you? Huh? To cooking classes, and, basket weaving classes. How many of you in the audience today speak Spanish? Raise your hand. Now, I'll still risk it. Because in my hand here, I have Guia de Mexico, Guide to Mexico. And I'm going to tell you some things that could be very valuable to you when you visit Mexico. For instance, La Cena. You know what La Cena means? You said you spoke Spanish. Do you know what La Cena means? Well, it's a very valuable word. That's dinner. La Cena. Another, La Suegra. La Suegra. Does anyone know what La Suegra means? It means mother-in-law. Mother-in-law. Now, here's a valuable, very valuable word. La Zaragaya. Zaragaya. What that means? Huh? What? Sauerkraut? No. You come come back when I have the guidebook the guidebook to Berlin. No, Lazaragaya. That means possum. Sauerkraut's funnier, kid. I'll go along with you. But let me give you some complete phrases. Now, when you're in Mexico, you're going to want to voice opinions. You know, you don't want to just go along listening. You want to say things. Tell what you think, right? Right? Say it. Right. All right. Now, this is a valuable phrase. No me importa lo que me diga un tamale sierva bien pobre como un marcador de libros. That means I don't care what you say, a tamale makes a lousy bookmark. Now, of course, Mexico is very romantic. And particularly the single girls who go down there, you might meet romantic Latin, and they wax poetic. And this is something that you might want to say. Esta noche no cueza la cena, llame tortilla amena. That means don't cook tonight, call tortilla delight. That's all right, I'm going on anyway. Now, when you go shopping, and of course you shop when you go to Mexico, you want to be able to comment on the things that you might buy, and you want to be able to bargain, frankly, because they don't always sell things at the price of the market. Here's a phrase that could be very valuable. Pero, señor, esta guitarra genuina española dice hecho en Japón. But, sir, this genuine Spanish guitar says made in Japan. If you know anything at all about politics, you might want to say this, because you wouldn't want to miss a thing. Disculpe, por favor, pero ¿a qué hora piensan derrocar el gobierno hoy? That means, excuse me, but what time are they going to overthrow the government today? One last one. And this could possibly be the most valuable thing in this entire book. And don't forget this when you go to Mexico. ¿Qué quiere decir? Dele un beso, ya no bebo el agua aquí. That means, what do you mean give you a kiss? I don't even drink the water here. And I'll tell you what, that's all you have to know when you visit Mexico. Just that. Other times, of course, on our show, I will tell you what to say when you're in Germany or France. We'll even tell you what to say when you go to Pasadena. We paid a visit to Mexico without leaving the studio, but next we will be leaving the studio for a trip we did make as recorded by our remote film unit. Now, this song. Ours is a people show. We're interested in the people right here in the studio audience. In fact, I'm getting more interested in you all the time. You laugh very well at my Mexican handbook. But we're also interested in people outside of our studio. And every so often we take our cameras and go outside of the studio and film people in some interesting situation. And that's what we've done today. We've taken our cameras to Memorial Hospital in Glendale, and there I have interviewed mothers and fathers as they leave the hospital with their newborn baby. Now, you've heard that television needs new faces. We got new faces for them today. I want to point out one thing, lest you be concerned, and that is that the hospital has a rule that each mother must leave the hospital in a wheelchair. You know, as soon as she gets home, she's scrubbing floors and washing dishes, just like always, but she leaves in a wheelchair. So don't be concerned about them. They're all in fine shape. Now, I'm going to sit right down here and watch these monitors here in the studio with you as we see what we recorded at Memorial Hospital in Glendale as these mothers and fathers were leaving the hospital with their newborn babies. Now we're at the Memorial Hospital of Glendale Airport, H-E-I-R, that is, and we're going to talk with some more proud parents. Here we have a very lovely mother right up here beside me, if you will, please, and a handsome father over there on the other side. Let's find out now. What is your name?
Sherry Barnett.
Mrs. Barnett and Mr. Barnett.
Ed Barnett.
Ed Barnett, who is the baby? Is it a boy?
This is a girl.
You say that as if...
Well, I've had two boys.
Have you? You have two boys?
I have a girl now.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. No?
That's right.
But now, be reasonable about it. Don't be ridiculous, right?
Well, I would give up after 4, but I'm lucky. I made it this time.
I see. Well, does that mean the fourth is out now, or are you going to go ahead and
Well,
have
it's
fortune?
pending. For a while.
It's open to discussion?
Yes.
Are you
Wide
from,
open.
Are you from a large family, Mrs. Barnett?
No, I'm an only child.
Are you?
Uh-huh.
How about you?
I have a brother. Stuart.
But you two had kind of talked about maybe as many as 4, huh?
Well, yeah. We were trying for a girl, though, and I think we might stop now.
You certainly have a lovely young lady there.
Thank you very much.
Now, her eyes are closed. How old are they when their eyes open? You know, I have only dogs.
Well, they're open. She's just sleeping now.
I see. She's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you. Thank you for chatting with me. All right, let's find out who has arrived on the scene now. I guess I mean that literally, too. Who has arrived on the scene here?
Christina Marie
Christina Marie what?
Levitch.
And you're Mrs. Lezitch. And you, standing back here looking very proud of yourself, are Mr. Lezitch, right?
That last time I looked, I was. Yeah, I kind of lost track.
Is this your first child?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh. Had you held Christina?
No,
They didn't trust you walking out of the hospital?
I didn't trust me either.
How would you like to be a part of a television first and hold Christina on our show?
I guess it's as good as anything.
Would you try it?
I sure will.
And you, Nurse Bachtel, is correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you stand around here now and act as technical advisor? Which end do you pick up first? How do you...
I'll pick up the whole baby.
The whole baby?
The whole sleeping baby.
All right. Christina is being handed to her father for the first time. Her father is looking into her face. Her father's turning away from me, so I don't know what he's doing now. What do you think of her now that you're holding her?
Well, I think she's pretty nice.
What was the thought that occurred to you first, the first time you saw her?
That's a good question. Complete amazement, I guess.
You two are going to be great friends. Are you going to get up in the night and give her a bottle?
I guess that's the plan. That's the traditional way of doing it.
Is that
Doesn't know it, yes, but yes.
That's the plan, huh? All right, well, I want to wish you all the happiness in the world with Christina. Thank you for talking with me and holding her for the first time on our show.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Here are 3 more interesting-looking visitors to our show. What is your name, sir?
Louis Pierce.
And Mrs. Pierce, who is the young lady in your arms?
This is Kathleen Adele.
Do you have other children?
Yes, one boy,
How old is he?
3.5.
Uh-huh. Were you looking forward to having a young lady?
Yes, very much. After 7 generations of boys in my family, the first one, makes me pretty happy.
This is the first baby girl in 7 generations? My goodness. Well, congratulations. Are both grandmothers, or at least one grandmother nearby?
Yes, one lives in Burbank and one in Glendale.
And the first daughter in 7 generations. This is right material to be badly spoiled.
I guess.
Have you had any advice from the grandmothers on the other child and on this one?
Yes, naturally.
What sort of advice have they given you?
I don't know, they just come up with things all the time.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do you listen?
I listen.
And then you do as you please.
Right.
How about you as a father? Have you had lots of advice, Mr. Pierce?
Well, not so much because we've never raised any girls, all boys, so I wouldn't know what to do with something like this.
You seem to be a rather well-organized type young man. I imagine you had everything ready and had her over here well in advance.
Yes.
Just a moment. What did you say?
No.
No. What went wrong?
Well, I don't know. We were just at the show, and all of a sudden we were here.
And I would imagine that you suggested it would be a good idea to come here.
Yes.
And now you're on your way back to see the rest of the show.
He was the night afterwards.
Of course, just a second. Well, congratulations on the first daughter in 7 generations of Pierce. Thank you. Goodbye. Our show will continue now from the studio. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the world population explosion. Now, where is the nearest freeway on-ramp? Back to NBC. I heard voices around here. Some of you recognized someone, didn't you?
Our nurse.
Your nurse? Remember the nurse? Just a moment. What did you say? Oh, fine. That's the kind of clubbing. If you travel by bus to San Diego, you need a nurse. I know what you mean. You remember the picture we saw earlier of our celebrity guest at age 16 with a litter of live kittens on his head? We'll be seeing what he has on his mind today, right after this time. All right, the place, Mount Ida. The man, Charlie Weaver. The person responsible for the place and the man, Cliff Arquette. I told the audience, Cliff, during that last commercial that we had a surprise. You expected perhaps Charlie Weaver, but you didn't expect Cliff Arquette as Cliff Arquette. And isn't he handsome? You'd never guess, would you?
I'm single, too, gals. And rich.
You look rich.
And old and got a bum heart.
Well, now, these people have seen you as Charlie Weaver and enjoyed your work for years and years and years.
Yes.
And we thought on our show it'd be fun to have you come on as yourself and find out what a fine guy you are, you know, and what a fine performer you are as yourself. There are two of you, and they don't know anything about you.
Isn't that funny? And I get very nervous, you know, without the funny hat.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm undressed or something. And I don't make a dime in these clothes.
Well, you got to make a dime someplace to afford those clothes.
Carl Reiner once said, Charlie will be out here in a minute. He's down in the dressing room getting disheveled. Well, that's bad, well.
No. I'd like to show them a picture of Charlie Weaver, but I also would like to go through that family album of yours that we have, and you'd like to see pictures of him way back, wouldn't you? Oh, wait, there's just a trace of Charlie Weaver here that I couldn't see until that one. Put your leg up. Can you see those red socks down there?
It's a set, you know. I never know when I may run into a bull on the way home.
Ole is right. Now, this is the family album. Let's start with this first picture here of Charlie Weaver. And tell us how you developed the character there, will you, Cliff?
Well, I knew I had a feeling that, you know, I was on radio for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And I had a feeling that one of these days we'd be able to look at the thing and see pictures.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I made my first television appearance in 1932.
Oh, my goodness.
With the Boswell sisters, and it was in New York. It was transmitted from one room to the next. It was like an oven in there, and they had the cameras, had great big wheels on them, and it was pretty frightening, you know?
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, I decided that I better do something about it, you know?
Right.
And
do something about the fact that sooner or later they'll be seeing you as well as hearing you.
yeah. And also, I figured that I'm going to get old and I'm going to get fat. So I better get some kind of a thing I can grow into.
Mm-hmm. And
Because I saw a lot of my friends going around getting their hair glued on and their teeth capped and lips on their shoes, you know, and dyeing their hair.
Now, he's not talking about me. I want you to know right now.
He doesn't do a thing with his hair, and I wish he would.
Why, now you're acting like Charlie Weaver. I'm going on.
Oh, good.
Let's turn to another picture. Now, here's an interesting-looking family picture.
Yes, that
Tell
looks
us about
like it looks like the lineup at the reformatory. That's starting over on the left. That's Mama.
That's
That
your
writes the letters, you know.
Right.
And God love her, she's 87 years old right now. Young heart.
That applause was started by an 87-year-old lady on the second row.
Is my mother down here? Then the next one is my sister Jane. And then my brother Russell, who lives in San Francisco, and there's a big steel corporation up there. Then my brother Lester, He's the one squinting. He said, "Don't squint." No. Actually, I think he's fleecing me. Get some out of my pocket. I'm the little one with the blonde bobbed hair.
In the front there.
And the reason my hair was so white was because Mother was very nearsighted, and she kept powdering the wrong end. Up to the time I was 40, and that's pretty...
That's a cue to turn over, I can tell. Let's go to the next.
In this period of my life, I was 15 or 16 there.
What are you holding?
That's a chipmunk.
What do you have it by the tail?
No, you can't hold a chipmunk by the tail. You don't have a tail.
The chipmunk doesn't have a tail?
No.
See, it's an educational
I'm
program.
holding
too. I
he's
didn't know.
alive. It's so that people won't write in.
Uh-huh.
He's alive. And I used to trap these little things, you know?
Yeah.
Incidentally, the hat I have on is a Army surplus hat. Because after World War I, all the kids, just like after every one of our wars, go out and buy all the surplus stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was pretty hot in those days. We didn't grow long hair. We wore funny hats. To get attention, you know?
Well, I think that with that chipmunk and that hat...
I was going to make a fur coat out of that, but I only caught one, so I gave up.
Now, who is this nice little lady here in the next picture?
That sweet little old lady, well, she was known as the character I did in radio, and I used to dress up like that. I was then about 22, I guess, and I used to build my nose out with nose putty, and one time I was playing the theater and I couldn't find my nose putty.
No.
So I borrowed some of this black friction tape from the engineer, you know?
Yeah.
And I wrapped that around, and I put the makeup over it, and it was fine. Until I took it off after the show, and half my nose came off with it.
So you gave up the character.
That was Aunt Addie, and I want to tell you that dress kept me out of 3 wars. Pearl Harbor, the whole...
I wish you hadn't told me, but that's good.
I know, it shakes you up.
Oh, now look at this fine-looking chap here.
Who's that?
Who is this? How did this get in your family?
Oh, yeah. Well, this now, I was starting to get a real pro now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a quartet, and because the other 3 guys' name were Smith, I took the name of Smith, too. That's a bright thing to do.
Yeah, I think so, too.
So,
the choice of the
anyway-
name of Smith, the brothers. That was clever, too. Go on. I'm sorry.
I played a little piano, and they played instruments, you know, badly, of course. We all played badly. And we finally got a job in a little local radio station here. And they heard us play, and they fired the other 3 guys and kept me.
And you had to change your name.
I did, because I didn't play quite as badly. See.
Here's another family picture. Now, what...
This is later. You see my brother, the one from San Francisco, he's grown up now.
Mhm. Which one are you? The
I'm the one that looks
Front?
like Mickey Rooney or Spencer Tracy.
You look like Spencer Tracy.
Yeah, Spencer Tracy down there.
Mhm.
And the one behind me is my brother. And that's my sister. And then we...
Oh, this has got to be the last picture in any family album. Look at this picture. Tell us about
Oh, I was as naked as a jaybird in it. And the tub was cold, too.
that. Were you crying or laughing?
I'm crying because, like most babies, I was a soap eater.
Then you just eaten the soap.
No, they changed brands on me.
That's fine.
But, Bobby, I've got to run along.
Well, I want to make a date now to have you come back as Charlie Weaver. You've been great as Cliff Arquette. Will you do that?
Wonderful.
Fine.
I'll come back sometime as Lawrence Malky.
Okay. Now, while we rest up from our fast trip through Cliff's family album, let's take that time for this word of advice. Once again, our thanks to Cliff Arquette for joining us today. You be sure to join us tomorrow with paper and pencil in hand. 2 ladies from our studio audience will take a test titled, Are You Interested in Your Teenager? And you can take the test, too, right there at home. If you don't have a teenager, join us anyway. We'll find a place for you. Goodbye for today, everybody.
a color presentation by Barker Productions in cooperation with the NBC Television Network.
You know, presenting just 4 spots as we've done and then hoping that you have the feel of our show is like showing you a pine cone and asking you to imagine the Black Forest. However, the spot with my wife, although it was certainly not an extravagant effort, demonstrates how much fun we can have with unrehearsed contestants selected from right out of the studio audience during the pre-show warm-up. The Tourist Guide Handbook is an example of features in which I'll work alone. The hospital sequence indicates that we don't have to go further than Glendale to find a heartwarming and amusing slice of life with lots of self-identification for our viewers. Now, we propose to have guest celebrities on the show from time to time, but always with originality of presentation as the keynote, as indeed it was in the bit with Cliff Arquette. We want to give the people at home an opportunity to participate in our show, too. And we've taped an additional feature to show you one of the ways we'll go about doing it. All right, gentlemen, if you please. Everybody has a white elephant. Perhaps it's something you once used but have long since stopped using. Perhaps it's something you bought and have never used. It could be a butter churn or a lamp. Who knows what? But if you have a white elephant you want to get rid of, we'll be glad to help. There are undoubtedly people in our studio audience who would like to have your white elephant. Now, I have a white elephant right here. And this is the letter that accompanied it. It says, Dear Bob, I have been married for 3 years and find myself the happy mother of a 1-year-old son. My reason for mentioning this is the motive for the white elephant I have sent to you. You see, it's absolutely no longer useful to me, and I doubt that I will ever want it again. But it might be useful to someone in our audience, or in your audience. Yours truly, Wanda Eastwood. Now, Wanda Eastwood's white elephant that she will never use again is a Playboy bunny suit. McCoy. With all the attachments. We have the ears, we have the little collar, and we have the cuffs. Now, who would like the Playboy bunny suit? Jim Critchfield, would you come down to this little blonde, almost over the wall? Stand up, would you please, right there at the rope. Pass the mic down. Tell me your name.
Mrs. Jack Shoemaker.
Mrs. Shoemaker, why do you want the Playboy bunny suit?
Oh, I think it'd be cute out on the beach this year.
For you?
For my husband?
I think it would be wonderful. Who else would like it? Anybody else? This gentleman right down here, Arch Presby, right down here. Would you stand up, sir, in the gray suit? Tell me your name.
Aubrey Eisen.
Mr. Eisen, why do you want it?
I just can't resist it. I tell you, that'd be perfect in my hope chest.
Now that you mention it, I think I'll keep it myself. All right, Mr. Eisen, thank you. And who else would like it? Let's get a couple of more reasons here. I'll tell you, Jim Critchfield.